Use it or lose it, and muscle memory. These are two myths you've probably heard about. Let's see if they are right or they are incorrect. They are indeed both correct. That's the good news. And I'm going to explain to you why. So use it or lose it is the thought that if you don't use something, then you lose it. Muscle. If you don't use a muscle, then you're going to lose it. And I wanted to do this video because I heard somebody told me about, I didn't see the report myself, but somebody told me about it where I guess there's some recent something that came out that actually said, you know, muscle can only do so much, so you should wait as long as possible before you start training, because then you can optimize it. Absolutely not. Okay, so use it or lose it. We'll talk about that now. And the other one is muscle memory, which is, we are thankful that that is correct. So muscle memory is sometime in the past, you have a period of time, extensive periods of time where you've trained, you at a certain intensity and you built muscle. Then life showed up and you haven't been able to train, you detrained, and now you're in a position where you would like to start training again. And is muscle memory actually a thing? Will you regain that muscle faster? Well, yes, you will. And I will show you why. So let me share my screen with you. Here, so here's your muscle fiber, and you'll see on the muscle fiber, there's a nucleus right there. So the beauty of muscle is we can have more than one nucleus. Well, then we'd have nuclei, right? So your nucleus is your message center. Other cells only have one nucleus, but muscle is quite unique in that it can have a great many. And this is where our prior training comes into play. Because if you've got a history of training for an extended period of time at a certain intensity, then you have increased the number of nuclei on the muscle fiber. So then even if you detrain or you remove yourself from training for whatever reason, they say it can be decades, the number of nuclei are still there. So when you start training again, you are so much more responsive than somebody that's like never trained. So absolutely, muscle memory is a real thing. And this is why it's because our resistance training increases the number of nuclei on the muscle, and they don't go anywhere. So muscle memory, absolutely. Now let's talk about use it or lose it. And that is, let me pull a diagram over. With regards to satellite cells. So satellite cells, let's have a look at this. So here you've got a muscle. I know it's not a very good illustration. You've got a muscle and we train it, and we create trauma and we create damage to it. And these satellite cells, which have been kind of sitting on the surface of the muscle, spring into action. Then they come and they fuse themselves together and fuse the muscle fibers together. The fiber gets bigger, stronger, all these good things. Basically, the satellite cells repair the damaged muscle, and the muscle is stronger, bigger, better, all that good stuff. So the satellite cells kind of sit there on the sideline waiting to spring into action. And this is what they do. Now, if we do not use those satellite cells, if we do not cause trauma, if there is no reason for them to spring into action, then what those satellite cells will eventually do is they will go into a state of cell death. And once they are there, they are no longer available. We can no longer pull them into action. So if we have not trained for a long time and then we start training, and those satellite cells are gone, this is a thing that happens with aging, then yes, use it or lose it. There is definitely a lot of truth in that. If you don't stimulate those if you don't activate those satellite cells for muscle repair, and then they'll be there for a while, but with the aging process, they will eventually go out of that cycle and go into a state of cell death where we can no longer activate them. That is the point at which, now we're not going to be able to repair that muscle to the same extent. So both are indeed true. Use it or lose it, absolutely. You've got your exercise routine down, keep doing it. The best exercise is the exercise you do, the one that you enjoy, the one you are compliant to, the one that you always want to increase the intensity, do more of, improve your performance. So the ones that's most fun to you. use it or lose it. That's how you keep those satellite cells going. That's going to preserve the muscle and keep you building muscle at a later stage in life. But then again, there is hope, if you haven't trained for a while, with muscle memory. So if you used to train pretty hard back yonder, and you're thinking about getting into training, then yes, you actually can expect some pretty great results pretty soon, if your training and nutrition is on point. This is what I coach. This is from my Muscle Month program. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be next year when it comes around, but my programs will be starting soon. I have 5 programs. So if you make sure you subscribe to the channel, because when my programs become live, you'll be the first to know. But yes, muscle memory and use it or lose it are indeed true.